Now, I know what you were saying, Chris, earlier on the play that scored Murphy for Sydney, but Cicchini was full stretch to the backhand side. If you try and throw that while you're full stretch to the backhand side, yeah, you might make it, but it could also go 12 rows into the grandstand.
I'm just relaying what the feeling amongst the fans. I was outside the box at that stage, and there was. I'm just relaying what people didn't see earlier, Cam. As we see a big fly ball, it's gone a long way up, and it's falling in shallow centre. Getting underneath it is Nathan's, and he completes the out. So it was quick from Brennan. As Jalen Ray comes in.
Jalen Ray, his ABL, his first start.
He's starting to do, yeah.
Starting to do for the Blue Sox tonight. Playing in left field. Struck out in his first at bat in the second. First pitch is there for Pfeiffer for a called strike. Fouled back quickly. Jalen Ray is down 0-2. Owen to the count on Ray. And he fouls it off again to stay alive. Jacob Eunice, he's on deck. Gifton Gerpe is the man in the hole for the Blue Sox. O2. Staying alive. As the floodlights take over here. Phil Pfeiffer on the mound for the Cavalry. Big lefty. As he strikes out Jalen Ray swinging to end the inning. And that was an 8-pitch inning.
It's the first 3 up, 3 down we've seen here. In fact, the Cavalry have now set down the last 4 Sydney batters. So the pitching certainly getting into a bit of a groove for the men in orange on Japan night here at MIT Ballpark.
Which will blow up and release in the middle of the 5th inning to the Yokohama DNA Bunny Star song. So if you want a balloon, if you don't have a balloon, it'll be a magical sight, middle of the 5th inning. Now, fans, it is Japan once again.
So the Sydney Blue Sox coming out to a field, and it's Thomas Dormany is their starting pitcher, just running around the fielding lineup for the Sydney. Murphy is the catcher, Manaroa at first, Brennan at second, and Ngope is at shortstop and Eunice at third base. And then left to right across the outfield, it's Ray, Campbell and Krause. And yeah, well, as you mentioned it earlier, it is like old mates night tonight with Murphy catching, Manaroa at first and Krause in right field. 3 men who have worn the Cavalry jersey on many, many occasions. And I think all 3 of them have at some stage made their mark on very big wins at this very ballpark for playing for Canberra, but now turning out for Sydney. Krause, in fact, playing for his 3rd ABL team, having had a stint for Melbourne as well. Boss started in Sydney, came down to Canberra for a few years, became a cult hero. He's gone back up to Sydney now. And Murphy, of course, the legend of the Asia Series, the legend of the Championship Series here.
Took a couple of years
away and came back to Sydney under the new ownership there for the Blue Sox. And certainly a very popular man. Had a bit of a chat with Jack before the game last night, a bit of a chat with Krause as well, and they just love playing baseball here in Australia.
Must say it's very nice as well when you want to know when you come back to a ballpark that you just left, whether you've left good memories or it's good riddance to hear the sounds of "I'm bossy." As Manaroa walks up the bat, you can tell that he is still loved in this ballpark.
I wonder whether he'll get that again tomorrow night or whether it'll be something else for him. I suppose it depends. If he gets a few hits tonight, they might make a change.
Chucky Robinson, he steps in 0-for-1 tonight.
Not sure if you saw Chucky's big grand slam over in Perth a couple of weeks ago, but that was a monster hit. That's a big ballpark to hit out of. And to do it when the bags are loaded always seems to be so much bigger, and he did that just last week as Dormany goes on the outside.
1-1. It was dead center, wasn't it?
Pretty close to it.
Out of the way. Canberra need to start winning some games. They're losing touch with the leaders of this Northeast Division very quickly. What started as 2-0 and very well week 1 has now quickly turned into 4-9.
It's been a very tough start to the season, and I'm trying to think of the last time the Cavs lost 9 of 11, which is what they've done of their last 11 starts.
Softly hit along the ground to the third baseman, Eunice, with a bare hand over to Moanaroa. Full stretch and gets him. Wow.
First base umpire Josh Matavesi getting very animated with the out call there. And Chucky Robinson, well, he's got a pair of 5-3s. That one hit a lot softer than the first one.
Great play by Eunice. He was charging that as he should with the weakly hit ground ball. It actually took a hop on the grass away from his glove side. Bare hands it in stride and over to Moanaroa. Great play from Jacob Eunice.
He's a class player, Eunice. He really is a class player.
Long-term shortstop, I believe, Chris, for the Blue Sox before, obviously, when you've got a guy of the talent of Gifton Gope. So he basically said, whatever, I actually met him in Sydney in August up at the New South Wales Country Titles. He was there having a watch, and I just said, hey, what are you going to be doing this year? He said, mate, whatever's needed.
Exactly.
And that's the ultimate team guy.
Absolutely. You can probably hear a few whistles going in the background. Those are the Japanese balloons. And are we getting a couple of them sent out there as well?
I don't know. But I'm just having a look here. I think that maybe the umpires have been got together. Maybe Keith Ward has seen something different and is just asking the question. Did you see something different? Was he off the bag?
Well,
and the call stands.
Look, it was a stretch. Well, certainly had to put the stretch in, but yeah. I mean, look, we are 150 feet away from it. Umpire Josh Matavesi right on top of the play, and I didn't see anything untoward about it.
No, I think it's great when all the umpires can get together and just go, "Did you see it?" And we're all in agreement. I think it's perfect. But I think it's also fair. Ask the question: did anyone see anything different? No, they didn't. Okay, let's play on.
Because the conversation is continuing. There we go. Keith Ward now finished with his chat with Riley Barrington. Riley Barrington comes back behind home plate, and it'll be Gavin Cicchini, who is 1 for 1 this evening with a single to centre field coming in to bat. Error-free game thus far. 5 hits to 4, but just 1 run apiece.
Here comes Dormany. That's low and outside. Ball 1.
Geez, if you think that whistling in the background is slightly annoying at the moment, wait till it goes off. I'm not sure whether they're doing it at the top of the 5th or the middle of the 5th when hundreds of these balloons get let loose in the ballpark. As count ties up at 1-1. Yeah, this will be a sight to see. If you've not been to baseball in Japan or not seen Japanese baseball, Cicchini swings through for strike 2. Yeah, this is certainly something very, very different.
1-2 the count on Cicchini. Sarge is beating up kids in the stands. Here's the pitch. He gets under that one. Michael Krause charging in from right field. Under it comfortably.
I'm not sure if Krause initially picked that up. He had to stop for a moment and get set, but
I think it was more he was holding back, thinking maybe Cicchini had got more on it than what he had and realised he'd got more up than out. As here comes Jarek Suter. He's 0 for 1, struck out looking in the second on a beautiful pitch from Dormany. Fouls it back. Oh, and 1 is the count. We'll stay with the baseball. Curve on the outside, and that is just a lovely pitch from Thomas Dormany. Suter is down 0-2. 2 outs here. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Weakly hit, and that is going to drop in for a base hit. He's fought off an 0-2 count and an inside high fastball on the hands, and he's got enough on it to clear the second baseman, Brennan, and drop in on a 1-hop to a fielder Krause who was charging in. 2 out. Here comes the captain, Robbie Perkins. He is 1 for 1. And that is outside, ball 1. Perkins with the single to left field. Counters 1-0. Tawny checks the runner. Perkins is hit. Pops it straight up to Mo and Aroa.
Okay, fans, that is the end of
And
the
that
ball.
retires the side.
We are tied at 1. It is
And once again, zeros on the board.
We're raising money for Lifeline all weekend. But every Friday and Saturday at the home.
Zeros on the board, and it is 1-1 at the bottom of 4 here at MIT Ballpark. 5 hits apiece, 1 run apiece.
Each and every Friday and Saturday for Lifeline. So I'd love to have him out here. And ladies and gentlemen, please give Paul from Barbanag a massive round of applause. You won't be doing that soon though, because Paul, Felicity, and I forget. Paul, Felicity, and Phil are going to try and throw the ball through the hole in the net, and if they do, Paul's going to tell us how much he's going to donate to Lifeline. Paul, you throw away first. You're our boss amongst us. Big throw, no good. Phil, you're up. Felicity, you can go closer. It's okay. Not too close, right there, because you're getting away at the catcher. Big throw. Felicity, I don't want you to get a hit. Go. Oh, not bad, Felicity. Push back a little bit. Okay, Phil, you go. We're going to run out of time. We want to get a ball through the hole. All right, Paul, you're up.
Friday night baseball in Canberra. It is Canberra versus Sydney. And again, apologies for not having the usual bells and whistles on our stream this evening, but we reached a point where we could at least get something up. And it's a one-camera job, but Warwick Featherbridge and myself, Chris Coleman, will keep you posted with what's for the Sydney Blue Sox. Unless I am very much mistaken, it will be Jacob Eunice, Gift Ngope, and Boss Mo Naroa due up.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks to Paul, Felicity, and Phil.
As we're just finishing the, well, it used to be the boss toss, but I haven't seen Don out there this year.
I think Don's actually very, very busy behind the scenes tonight. As I said, there have been a number of issues here at the ballpark this evening.
Visiting dignitaries.
Also a number of technical issues around the ballpark this evening, not all to do with our stream. A number of other issues that need to be sorted out, but the honorary boss toss this evening. But we get back to baseball with 1 run apiece on the board here. Phil Pfeiffer, last I checked, his pitch count just ticked over 60. I think it's up to 64 pitches for the game so far.
Had a big first inning, Pfeiffer. 8 pitches last inning will help. He'd love that again. Which means now, after ball 1, he's only got 7 pitches to get 3.
Doesn't have a lot to play with.
Eunice is 0 for 2. Struck out looking in the first, ground out in the second. That pitch is in there for a called strike 1. Evens the count at 1 apiece.
It was a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about Pfeiffer having just been added to the 40-man roster for the Atlanta Braves to protect him from being picked up by another club in the Rule 5 draft. Fly ball to left field from the bat of Eunice is being chased down by Cicchini, who's come across some shortstop, gets it on the edge of the warning track, backhands it and takes the catch. No mean feat. Cicchini had to go a long way there, and he still had to backhand it as he was running onto the warning track. And I don't know who you was, but when you get that crunch of the warning track under your feet, just as you go to take the catch, it just sends that shiver up the spine because you suddenly think, how close is that fence going to be?
I don't think I've ever been in a position to play with a warning track, Chris. So usually I just run into the fence.
Oh, good catch by Cicchini.
Well, and good spotted by Warner. That's Cicchini's ball. Get out of the way. Just tell him where it is. As in steps Ngope. And that's low for ball 1. Gift had absolute, as you said in the recap, Chris, smashed a ball that came off the top of Warner's glove. He was 3 feet in the air and just off the top of his glove. And, oh no, he had the slow roller. No,
he had the slow roll. Yeah, it was Krause who had the one off the top of the glove.
Yeah, no, sorry, apologies. And then he struck out, so he is 1 for 2.
This man last night pulled off one of the defensive plays of the year. Couldn't quite pull off the double play, but the ball was hitting. He was playing shortstop last night. The ball was hit hard to the right of the bag at second. He ran across, picked it up, backhanded it to the man who was at second base, but the man at second base was just off the bag. But the throw went across to first. It was still a remarkable piece of play for a man who has played Major League Baseball and still, I'm sure, harbours aspirations to get back to the top of the baseball tree. The 2-1 pitch comes down and levels the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes as Ngope elects not to swing it. I think that may have been the off-speed stuff there from Pfeiffer.
Definitely was 2-2. Pfeiffer seems to have found a little bit of the rhythm. That's high and outside as soon as I put the curse on him.
But we're talking about Pfeiffer going onto the 40-man roster. Of course, there have been a few other names associated with the Cavalry that have come up in baseball trade moves in the past few days. Probably the biggest, well, definitely the biggest.
Buddy Reed.
Well, no, I was going to say, let's go bigger than that. Let's go to Didi Gregorius, of course, former Cavalry man who has been playing for the Yankees, will not be with the Yankees this coming season. What was a $14 million deal to move to the Phillies? 18.
1 year and 18 million.
Oh, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of money.
But obviously, a payroll shedding move by the Yankees. Because as well, you've got Angigar, the emergence of Urshela, DJ LeMahieu, obviously had to shed some money after when you spend, what was it, $324 million in 9 years for Garrett Cole.
When you spend more money than God on a player, yes, you do probably have to shed something. Although again, the Yankees and the luxury tax do seem to go together like cheese and biscuits.
Called strike one on Boss Mo and Aroa. I was wondering, wearing the number 4. I was wondering what he would wear, considering that Campbell wears the 45 in Canberra, in Sydney, sorry. And that's called in there again. Boss is down 0-2. And yes, apologies, DD, yes. Buddy Reed today was announced as the player to be named in the Jurickson Profar trade with the A's. As Boss
swings through, strikes out.
And that is the second strikeout tonight for Boss. Sydney down 2.
Yeah, Buddy Reed winding up on the Oakland Athletics payroll, and had a conversation with a friend of mine who follows US baseball very, very closely. He was completely unsurprised by that move. Buddy Reed, not the highest of batting averages, but a great on base percentage, has drawn a lot of walks in AAA. Also, a lot of speed around the base path, so great for stealing bases. And a very good fielder. So if you're a very good fielder, you've got a good OBP, and you can steal bases, which other club is going to look at you than Oakland? In all seriousness, which other club? He will play Major League Baseball in 2020, and he'll play it in the green and gold of the Oakland A's.
Want to know the count on Krause?
Not allowed to bet on things involving baseball, but I would, if I were a betting man and I was able to bet on Buddy Reed making his Major League Pro debut, I would be putting money on that next year. He'll do it for Oakland next season.
I believe he's in the best place for him to do that. And that's in there for a called strike 2. Count is 1 ball and 2 strikes on Krause.
2 outs. He's got a runner on. That runner is Gift Ngope. Surprised that Gift hasn't had a go to steal. Mind you, Pfeiffer is the lefty and is pretty quick.
Not a lot of wasted motion.
No.
Watch Pfeiffer's front foot. Through. There goes Ngope, but swinging through as Krause and strikes out.
Krause almost did the full Tassie Devil move there and wound up spinning all the way through to China. Well, maybe all the way through to Japan on this night. Japan night here in Canberra. If you have a look around on the Canberra Cavalry social media outlets, you'll see the Canberra Cavalry jerseys tonight that actually have the word Cavalry written across the front in Japanese. The players' names on the back are in Japanese script as well. It is a full-on Japan night this evening. Oh, here we go. We might just turn up the sound from outside. This is some music courtesy of the Yokohama DNA Bay Stars. Oh, someone's balloon's gone too high. Now get ready for this. You'll see this come up in front of your camera. Apologies, the camera's stationary. Although maybe can we drag that camera around to the right view for a moment, just down the bleachers down the right-hand side. There we go. Just so you can get a little bit of taste of what's about to happen. This will be a bit of fun here. When the song finishes. Have you ever seen this before, Was? No.
This is why I'm staring out the window like a child on his first jet experience.
You are absolutely stunned by this. Here it comes.
In 3, in 2, in 1, let them go!
There you go. A little bit of Japanese baseball flavour for you here at MIT Ballpark this evening.
Oh, here they come.
The balloons go up, and the balloons come back down.
And some of them, people have actually tied them up and they're just stayed in place.
And they're not entirely sure what they should have done, but now they're realising that they shouldn't have tied them up. But
just to finish on
bit of fun
on Buddy Reed.
Yes, let's get back to that.
I think it's a great place for him. The San Diego system at the moment is just crowded with great prospects. So if you had to go anywhere as an outfielder, that's where I'd want to go. Geordie Barley, he's going to step in and he's 0 for 1, ground into the innings-ending double play in the second. As we are about to start the bottom of the 5th inning here at MIT Ballpark. 1 apiece. Still. Called strike 1. We'll try and give you the score updates as regularly as we can. We apologise, we have no score bug or anything tonight, so it is 1-1. 5 hits apiece. Here comes Dormany. That one's just missed. Well, there's still balloons going off. They're loving it.
I go for the rest of the night. There'll be kids who go around, pick them up and re-blow them up.
1-1 on Barley. He's up. Cam Warner is the man on deck. David Candless in the hole. High and outside for ball 2. Here's the pitch. Barley tries to get the high one. Evens the count at 2-2. You can still hear the whistle in our effects, Mike. Here's the pitch. And that is right on the outside, called strike 3.
Is that the second strikeout for Dormany?
Yep. And they're both looking. Here comes Cam Warner. He's 1 for 2. Has a single and a ground out. He's popped that foul. Moanaroa chasing hard near the first base line, but he is there.
Oh! Had to show the ball to the umpire to say, yeah, I did catch it. Here it is in my hand.
Wow.
And Warner with, well, it's almost a crime to call that a pop fly, but it pops up and it's taken right on the edge of the playing area.
Boss Moanaroa had to track that right next to the fence. There is a support pole that holds the netting up. He had to contend with that and the kids and still got it. Great fielding from Moanaroa. 2 out. David Candless, 0 for 2 with a ground out and a fly out. And that is ball 1 from Dormany. Didn't like the ball there. This has been rolled out. 1-0. 2 out here in the bottom of the 5th. Beautiful pitch. Called strike 1. Count is 1-1 on Candless. Here we go again. And that's a mirror image. Second verse, same as the first. 1 and 2, the count on David Candless here. 2 out. Here's the pitch. And that's outside. Tried to get him to chase, but David Candless is too smart for that. 2 and 2. 1 all. Bottom of the 5th. 5 hits apiece. It's very symmetrical. Candler swings through and strikes out. And that retires Canberra in the bottom of the 5th. No runs. We are still tied at 1 run apiece, Chris Coleman.
We are indeed. And just looking at Canberra, after 2 hits in the first and 2 hits in the second, they've started to dry up a little bit. All goes back to the Geordie Barley double play in the second. Cavs 1 walk in the third, 1 hit in the fourth, and sat down in order in the 5th. And that has been, I think it's safe to say, that has been really the story of the season for the Cavalry so far this season. The hits have come up, and they haven't come in clusters. They haven't come in groups. Makes it very, very tough for the home side to get on the board. But we move to the top of the 6th. Trent D'Antonio, Jack Murphy, Michael Campbell. D'Antonio 1 for 2 tonight. Murphy 1 for 2 tonight. Campbell 1 for 2 tonight. So there's plenty around in terms of hitting. Another indication of the problems we've got here. I can't even get access to in-game stats, or not so much in-game stats, but season stats for the for players so far. So apologies again. Normally I'd like to give you batting averages or other details, but can't even get that from where we are this evening. So we what's the line from Good Morning Vietnam? Carry on. He says it right to the end, when Robin Williams' characters, when Adrian Cronau was going home, he said, carry on.
You got to keep on keeping on.
I don't think that was it. No. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Carry on, Kimasabi. I don't know, I'm just guessing here, my friend.
Feel free, feel free to tweet it at me, CJCAU on Twitter.
Don't tweet it at me because I'm not worried. Phil Pfeiffer, he's back up. I've just seen, and I think it's just a purely, move of getting ready. We are heading into the top of the 6th. I've just seen a few people to start walking up to the Canberra bullpen.
Well, Pfeiffer up to 80 pitches for the night so far, 52 of them strikes, Dormany 77. So you'd be a brave man to predict either of them going the full 9 from here. And Pfeiffer, this may be the last inning for him. He's pitching to D'Antonio.
D'Antonio batting 140 for the season.
A while since you've seen those kind of numbers about that man.
And he's quickly down 0-2. Here comes Pfeiffer. Tried to go back to the well, but just missed. On the ground, Cicchini's charging. Scoops it, throws. Called out.
Wilson had to reach there. Cicchini had to wait. That took a very high bounce. You'll see a lot of that this weekend. We've had some really, really hot weather here in Canberra, especially for Canberra weather. And that took a really high hop. You'll see a lot of those this weekend off the infield.
He was charging and still had to jump to get up to get the ball.
And that was on the second bounce.
Yeah. Murphy steps in, as you can tell. Here comes Pfeiffer. High and outside. If you didn't know his name,
you do now.
1-0 is the count on Jack Murphy. 1-1 still. Top of the 6th. Murphy off the end of the bat. Cicchini charges with the glove over to first, and Wilson takes it easy. And all of a sudden, Sydney are 2 down. And Gavin Cicchini is getting infield practice.
Plenty of it. That one went hard to him, hard and fast. Took plenty of time with the changeover. Good thing for kids to watch there. Take plenty of time with the changeover. Make sure you've got that ball before you bring the arm back to throw. Don't just go, oh, yeah, it's there. Oh, no, it's not. It's on the ground. So good work. Throw a little bit higher to Wilson, but Wilson had it covered. Plenty of time to get there. And on a couple of 6-3 plays, Sydney are 2 down with Michael Campbell coming in, who, funnily enough, last time he was at bat, had a 6-3 play, high and outside. The pitch from Pfeiffer. 1 ball, no strikes, 2 outs, 1 apiece.
No wind. Flags are down out in centre field. Here's the pitch.
Tell you what, compared to last night, this is absolute baseball paradise. Last night, about an hour and a half before game time, the wind changed round to the east and it blew in the smoke from the bushfires down at the south coast.
And quickly, Campbell is ahead 3-0. Sorry, Chris.
The bushfire smoke came in. The game was played in conditions that you would associate more with, say, Beijing or New Delhi. It was played under very, very heavy grey skies as Campbell takes one low and inside and gets the walk. And the other thing about that wind, it was coming in very, very fast and it was cold. We dropped from the high 20s to the mid-teens in about an hour last night here at the ballpark, and it was freezing. They were actually selling blankets at the souvenir merchandise stall.
I was sorry to interrupt. I've just seen people walking past with them, so I think they're still selling them.
It is a little bit cool this evening, but it's nothing like it was last night when it was blowing an absolute gale coming in from right field. As it's now Max Brennan in. Max had hit into a fielder's choice 6-3, his first time up on a fly ball to Nathan's in centre previously. He's behind in the count here. No balls. One strike. Canberra looking to wrap up this inning here and keep the game one apiece, as now Brennan is 0-2. One that he may have thought was a little bit low.
0-2. Campbell is the runner at first, and we know that he can run if needed. Here's the pitch. Fouled off. This is interesting. Chris, have a look at this.
Mm-hmm.
Riley Barrington is walking back with Phil Pfeiffer to the mound.
You don't see that every day. Personal escort. Don't know, was that high and inside? Was he just saying, don't go there? It wasn't that high and inside, was it?
I don't know. Pfeiffer is actually just packing down where his front foot lands. Maybe Riley Barrington has seen something in his delivery and just said to Phil, "You pushing the line?" Or, "Mate, I've noticed something." Home umpires are very generous and giving. Like, just maybe 0-2. Outside. So 1-2. 1-1. Top of the sixth. Michael Campbell is the runner on first for Sydney. Brennan, the hitter, as he swings through and misses for strike 3. And that retires Sydney again. They leave another runner on base. And after we had runners on everywhere to begin this game, Chris, suddenly the rivers run dry.
Funny how baseball can change. It changes so quickly. Yeah, there hasn't been a hit. There's been, well, let's see, the last hit was Canberra in the bottom of the fourth. But besides that, there hasn't been a hit in 3. Oh, there's been one hit in the past 3 innings. So the kids are going for the run around the diamond. What we might do is take a quick break here at MIT Ballpark and come back for the bottom of the 6th inning, where it's 1 apiece. Nick, we don't have to kill our mics during the breaks now, do we? That's automatic, yeah.
Warwick Pethybridge and Chris Coleman with you on the call. Starting the bottom half of the 6th for Canberra. Leading off, it'll be Tucker Nathans. Then Zach Wilson and Chucky Robinson. They will look to try and break this 1-1 deadlock. It is still Tom Thomas Dormany. I'm seeing that is high and inside. Nothing yet, but a couple of. Hey, he's underneath it and takes the catch.
He had to wait, didn't he?
Usually that would come down with snow on it. Well, I think with some of the smoke that rolls through here, it might have come down with a bit of ash. That was how high it was.
There's a runner going up the line now to the Sydney bullpen. So I think that's the message is, okay, enough stretching. Time to start throwing, boys. Thomas Dormany approaching, I think he's up to about the 90 pitch mark now.
Wilson fouls that one off. He is 1 for 2. Had a single in the first. That single scored the run for Canberra. And then he flied out in his last at bat and was very not happy. 0-1 the count.
I apologise. I shortchanged Dormany as we see another foul ball from the bat of Wilson.
Right off the barricade of Sarge's Saloon and into shallow left field.
Geez, he did get some on that, didn't he? He's come back a long way into the field. Yeah, Dormany only in the early 80s. I miscounted. He's only in the early 80s in his pitch count. But either way, I suspect he's not too far from being done.
0-2 on Wilson. 1 out here. Here's the pitch. Right at Ngope. He has lasered that straight to him.
Now batting against the catcher, number 30, Chucky Robinson.
Keep you posted on what's going on around the grounds in the Australian Baseball League. I believe they had a delayed start in Brisbane. They've had plenty of rain up there, but they're underway now. And as was the story last night, Tuatara getting off to a good start, leading 1-0 in the first.
Robinson tries to check his swing, but it was there. It dropped down. So 0-1.
Meanwhile, in Adelaide, Melbourne lead that one 2-0. That game in the top of the third. And, of course, later tonight, the nightcap is Geelong Korea at Perth.
Robinson swings, half swings. The ball in the dirt, and he's quickly in the 0-2 hole. Great game here on Japan night at MIT Ballpark. Dormany just taking his time. Here he comes. Fouled back. See another one. Lots of experimentation with the lineup. Keith Ward still trying to find one that puts some runs on the board. Robinson hits that. That's going to drop into right field. Krause is chasing hard and will get it on the one hop. But that's a 2-out single to Chucky Robinson.
It's almost like Robinson got that off the little hollow on the end of the bat. It must have been right down low on the bat. It made almost no sound off the bat, and it had no power, but it still sat there, just sort of sat there and floated down that first base line. Either way, Robinson will take it. He's had 2 infield outs, so he'll take it as a single to right field to get on base and bring in Gavin Cicchini.
And that breaks the deadlock. 6 hits to 5 now. That is low for ball 1 to Gavin Cicchini. 1 run apiece. Canberra scored in the bottom of the first, but Sydney answered right back in the top of the second. Cicchini fouls that down the left field line. And you're still hearing the hiss of balloons.
Oh, yeah, you'll hear that all night.
One and one. The count on Cicchini. Dormany checks over at first. Cicchini, he gets under that, but that will be foul towards the Sydney Blue Sox pen. 1 and 2. Chucky Robinson, the man at first. One and 2, the count on Cicchini. Robinson leads away from first. Here's the pitch. That is high. 2 and 2. Checks Robinson again. Cicchini swings through on a knee and strikes out. And that ends the inning. So once again, 1 hit, no runs. As we're about to hit the top of 7, the bottom of 6 here at Canberra, and it is 1 run all.
Now, fans, we've been raising money for Lifeline, as you know, all weekend long. We're going to raise a little bit more money here with a very special event. Simply to do, what we're trying to do is raise a bit more money for Lifeline on Health and Wellness Weekend. Now, what we've got down here, we've got Sarge with his new boss, Paul from Baildon Ag, and myself with... These guys had a bet. The losing team, so I had the losing boss, I was 200 to Lifeline. So we can only do 100 to Lifeline, okay? Let's see how we go. I'm looking at the commentators we have. So we're not going to go to start. Okay. Look at you further down. We're going into this new one. So we're going to raise another $300 for Lifeline. On your right, get there, go. On. Get your two heads. Go. I can do it right now.
Kasai, take a massa Kasai.
We're back for the top of 7 here at MIT Ballpark. 1 run apiece between the and the Blue Sox. There is a pitching change for the Canberra Cavalry. Phil Pfeiffer's night is over after 6 strong innings of 1-run ball. He makes way for Takamasa Kasai, the right-hander. Up for Sydney, it'll be Jalen Ray, and then back to the top of the order with Jacob Eunice and Gift Ngope. Ray, as we said earlier, making his starting debut tonight for the Blue Sox. He is 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts. Took a very good catch in left field. I know it was a fly ball, but it was a towering fly ball.
Just quickly through the Pfeiffer line. Across those 6 innings, he gave up 5 hits and just the 1 earned run. Walked 3, struck out 9 through 95 pitches in total. 60 of them were strikes, 6 groundouts and 2 flyouts. So you said before was that the runs had dried up, the hits had dried up. A couple in the last 4 innings across both teams. So let's see whether the game changes complexion now with Kasai on the mound.
Always say it is a different game once the bullpen comes in. Here's Kasai's first offering. And that's high. Along the ground, Wilson dives, but just gets past his outstretched glove. Fair down the right field line. Jarek Suiters picks it up in the corner. And on the 1 hop, Throws it into Cicchini. Jalen Ray is very pleased with himself, young man, and why not? As he leads off with a double.
Gets himself into scoring position in the 7th inning in a low-scoring ball game. You just wonder what the tactics will be here for the Sydney Blue Sox.
See ball, hit ball.
Well, potentially. You talked about Jacob Eunice being the team man. Do they go the team play and try and advance the runner from 2nd to 3rd here? Let's see what's in store. Eunice hasn't had a hit tonight. Strikeout, an infield out, and we'll call it a fly out to very deep shortstop. And no, he doesn't go for the bunt. Instead, he puts it to Cicchini at short. Cicchini looks at 3rd, throws to 1st, completes the out.
But ball was hit behind the runner, and Ray advances to 3rd.
So the go-ahead run for Sydney is now 90 feet from home.
Now watch the corners come in. Wilson is inside. He's on the edge of the grass. Warner will probably do the same. I mean, just in case Gift Ngope drops the bunt, the squeeze bunt. All the infielders are in, right on the edge of the grass. Here's the first pitch from Kasai. And he's missed inside.
He's a very experienced campaigner, several seasons of ABL experience, international experience for South Africa, Major League Baseball experience for the Phillies and the Pirates.
Here's the 1-0. He's trying for that pitch on the inside, and Kasai, he's just not hit. He hasn't hit it. 2-0.
Does he keep going inside? Does he go low and away? Robinson's still set up on the inside corner, so that'd suggest that Kasai's working that low inside corner. No, he does go away. Robinson's completely lost sight of that ball. He's gone running off towards the backstop, and the ball's sitting there 6 inches from the back of home plate. Horrible when that happens.
Very, very horrible. But at least kept the ball in front. Great block by Robinson. And all of a sudden, the momentum of this game is shifting. The bullpen comes in. Hard to be a bullpen. I would never want to be a bullpen pitcher, Chris. Yeah. At least when you start, you know when your day is in the rotation. Here's the 3-0. Kasai looks over at Ray at 3rd. And he misses. And walks.
Is that a 4-pitch walk?
That is a 4-pitch walk. And here are some very familiar strains around this ballpark.
Some very familiar strains and some very familiar circumstances, really, for this man.
Don't do it. Don't say it.
He's done it plenty of times before.
Chris, stop talking. I wonder though.
Mm-hmm.
When he wore the white, orange, and black, he used to point up here. He always used to give us a point. Interesting. I don't want to see it. Just wondering.
Well, we'll find out. We'll find out at some stage.
1 out here for the Blue Sox. Double play ball is available as the infield moves back out to double play depth. Here is the first pitch from Kasai to Boss. And that is low and inside too for ball 1.
The double play really would be what Canberra would love at this point.
That's why they've all moved out. Jalen Ray is the runner at 3rd. Gift Ngope at 1st for Sydney. It is 1-1 here in the top of the 7th. 1 out. Here's the pitch. And Boss, he was just behind that one.
That was the Boss Monaroa swing, wasn't it? That was I'm giving this everything.
I want to say farewell to this into that long night. But just as we start saying that, the wind has picked up here. The flags are blowing from right to left. Now it's just dropped. Don't do this to me now. 1-1 is the count on Moanaroa. 1-1 here. And that is low and inside. Ball 2. Jalen Ray on his starting debut in the ABL. He is the man at 3rd. Gift Ngope, he is at 1st after his 4-pitch walk. Moanaroa has a count of 2 balls and 1 strike. As he holds his bat. Kasai is looking at the runners. Holding for a long time. Here comes the pitch. And that is high and inside, and it is suddenly 3 balls, 1 strike. I'm looking at dugouts. I'm looking at the benches. I'm looking everywhere. This is a crucial pitch. Kasai must get a strike on this pitch. Or, a lovely double play ball. We'll take it here on Cavalry Live. Checks the runners. Here it comes. Maungaroa foul along the first base line as Ngope was breaking for second. Count is full. One all here between the Cavalry and the Blue Sox. Canberra with a run in the bottom of the first. Sydney answered right back in the top of the second. And with the odd runner here and there, it's kind of where it stayed. 1 run on 6 hits apiece. Jalen Ray is the man at third. Ngope at first. The count is full on Maungaroa, which is 3 balls and 2 strikes. There is 1 out. Kraus on deck. Kasai set. He looks at the runners, delivers. Boss fouls it back, and we go again. Here comes the signal from the third base coach for Sydney. Kraus is on deck. D'Antonio in the hole. But this is where it is right now. Full count on Maungaroa. 1 out here. Top of the 7th, 1 all. Kasai set. He looks at the runners. He's holding. Here it comes. Maungaroa foul along the first base side. And the count stays, obviously. Once again, we're only running the 1 camera tonight. We've had all kinds of problems. So we're doing our best to keep you up to date with the action. I'm looking up at the Canberra bullpen. I'm not seeing anything behind that giant black screen. So we'll just recap here. The count is full on Maungaroa. Jalen Ray is the runner at third for Sydney. Gift Ngope at first. There is 1 out. It is 1 all. Currently, top of the 7th. He's waiting. He gets the signal that he likes. He's just checking over at Ngope. Comes set. Here it comes. Full count. Boss slaps that into center field. That is a base hit. Ray scores from third. And Ngope, who was going on the pitch, he has held at third. And it was just, I think he's
still teasing. He's still teasing, isn't he?
So Boss Maungaroa, as he has done so many times in this ballpark, has come up with a clutch hit and given Sydney the lead. And unlike the past where you used to hear the ballpark erupt, it has gone dead silent, Chris.
You could hear a pin drop at that moment.
No, another one of old friends. No, he steps in, Michael Kraus. Kraus is 1 for 2 and has a walk. And Canberra, they need some outs. They need to get out of this situation quickly. Kraus fouls that back behind the Sydney dugout. And that takes 1 hop over the fence into St. Gully. And that, I see what you mean, Chris. I'm still getting used to Canberra weather conditions. That ground behind the bleachers is rock hard.
It is very hard here.
And it 1 hopped over the fence by about 12 feet. And the kids are looking, but sorry, guys, she is gone. 0-1 the count on Kraus. So that means Ngope, he is the man at third now. Maungaroa at first. Sydney lead 2-1. And that is a called strike 2. So, game begins again. Canberra falling behind here in the top of the 7th. 0-2 the count on Kraus. And Goppe leads away from third. And that is high and inside for ball one.
You had several minutes to drink 4 wines. It's on you.
1-2 the count on Kraus. One out here. Top of the seventh. Sydney have just taken the lead. They lead 2-1 on the Bosmo and Aroa RBI signal. He's the man at first. Gifton Goppe at third. Here's the pitch. Kraus, foul. And I believe a young man has just caught that. And he is very animated. How many times have you seen Boss steal a base?
Not many.
1-2 is the count on Kraus. Sydney leading 2-1. One out. Gifton Goppe at third. Boss Monaroa at first for the Blue Sox. Here's the pitch. And swings through. And strikes out to Michael Kraus for the second out. And that is one that Canberra desperately needed. Here comes manager Keith Ward. I'm wondering if he's got a plan. This may be it for Kasai. Yeah, someone is coming out of the bullpen. And that ends the night for Takamasa Kasai. He faced 5 hitters, gave up 2 hits and a walk, an earned run. And at the moment, he stands, if the score should stay the same, as the losing pitcher. I believe, without looking at my sheet or seeing a number on his back, that is James Mulry.
You're going to have to go by the numbers because you don't know how to read his name. I don't think you're up to much reading of Japanese script, are you?
No. I'm just taking a guess because I think there's only 2 left-handed relievers in the Canberra pen, and it's not Steve Kent.
Well, in that case, your logic is sound, my friend. It is indeed James Mulry.
Mulry? The funny part is as well, I'm glad that I've been around enough to know Steve Kent and how he pitches, because Kent wears 23 and Mulry wears 32. So Kasai leaves. Mulry's turn. Obviously Keith Ward wanted the left-on-left matchup, and that's why Mulry's in the game, because he will pitch to Trent D'Antonio, who is 1 for 3. So we'll reset. There are 2 out here in the top of the 7th. Sydney now lead 2-1 after the RBI single from Boss Moanaroa. Gifton Goppe, he is the man at third for the Blue Sox. Boss is at first. As D'Antonio steps into the box, and you can hear the crowd members chanting Murphy because he's on deck. Should D'Antonio get to base? Here's the first pitch from Mulry. And that's missed for ball 1. One and 0. Here's the count. D'Antonio along the ground to Geordie Barley. He flips it up to Giacchini for the 3rd out. So it could have been a lot worse. As Moanaroa is out, is the man. He's out on the 4 to 6. But Sydney score a run. They now lead 2-1. It is stretch time here at MIT Ballpark.
the post, to the view at the top, the snap of the dawn, to the peck of the crop. Across the horizon, you just skip and hop, and you never stop.
Well, you've joined us back here at stretch time at MIT Ballpark. So we'll recap quickly. After not a lot of action for a few innings, and the well had seemed to run dry, Jalen Ray led off that last top half of the seventh for Sydney with a double. Then Eunice hit behind him and was out on the 6-3, but advanced Ray to third. Gift Ngope walked. And Moanaroa in an 8-pitch at bat ended with a single to centre field. Ngope was running on the pitch, so he got all the way to third. Moanaroa, they got to first, and Jalen Ray scored. And then Krause struck out, and D'Antonio hit to the second baseman, Geordie Barley, who flicked it over to Cheney to get Moanaroa at second or the third out. There is a pitching change for Sydney. It is Luke Wilkins. He is the man who was taken over from Thomas Dormany. And when he has a second, because he's busy doing 9 million things, get Chris to find a pitching line. Jarek Suter, he will lead off for the bottom half of the seventh for the Cavalry. So it is Suter, Robbie Perkins, Geordie Barley. They are the due-up men. Canberra now need to put the foot on the gas. First pitch from Wilkins. Suter answers the call. One pitch, single to right field. He is now 2 for 3. Robbie Perkins steps in. He's 1 for 2.
Give you that Dormany line in a moment.
Wilkins, as I said, when it becomes the bullpen game, we reset and go again. Wilkins checks. I think Suter just bent over to tie his shoelaces and he was back at first. He's a very tall man. Robbie Perkins still waiting for his first pitch. Wilkins set, checks Suter. Here it comes. Wow. Ball one. Perkins held the bat out. Looked like he was trying to drop the bunt. As here comes the Sydney manager, Shane Barclay. I think he's going to ask, because in that instance, Perkins has got to pull his bat back, even if it is a ball. If you leave your bat hanging out there, it is a strike. And I think that's what Barclay's talking about, because the first thing that Jack Murphy did was point down the line. First base umpire Josh Matavesi said no. So off we go. I don't know. Maybe just asking the interpretation of the rule there, because you can't question a judgment call. It's usually bad for the soul. So the count is 1 ball on Robbie Perkins. Jarek Suter is the man at first. Wilkins set. Here it comes. And that is a called strike one. 1-1 the count on Robbie Perkins. Here we go again. Perkins squares the bunt. Foul. Jacob Eunice and a third Moanaroa at first. They were both charging in. Perkins just didn't get around on early enough. Now he's got to go. As we all know, if you bunt foul on strike 3, you are automatically out. I think that was one of the rules they were bringing into that Atlantic League, Chris, was I think you got one chance.
You did. I don't know how many people did it.
1 and 2. Here it comes from Wilkins. High. And the count is now even at 2 balls and 2 strikes on Robbie Perkins. None out here. Bottom of the 7th. Sydney now lead 2 runs to 1, courtesy of Boss Maunaro. He got the RBI single for Sydney in the top of the 7th. Here's Wilkins' pitch. And Perkins is cool looking. So Geordie Barley. Barley is 0 for 2. And it's probably the worst 0 for 2 that you can have on your line. Ground into a double play and a strikeout looking, which means he's going to bust out here. I hope so. One out. Jarek Suter is the man at first. Here's the pitch. And it's in there for a called strike 1. Barley, as we know, we said on the broadcast, part of the San Diego Padres organization. Here's the 0-1. And that one is just missed for 1-1. Just checking around. That's Cam Warner on deck. 1 out. Jarek Suter leads away from first. Here's the pitch from Wilkins. Barley pops that up. That's gone. That's going to land on top. No. Oh, yep. I think it just landed on top of the Grease Monkeys truck. 1 and 2.
We'll shake up the burgers a bit.
1 and 2 is the count on Geordie Barley. Wilkins. He gave up a first pitch hit to Suter, but he's done well. And that is right there. And the second Cavalry hitter in a row has struck out looking.
Sort of saying before, the Cavs just unable this season to get hits in groups and work runners around the diamond. Jarek Suter's been standing out there at first base for what to him must seem like an absolute eternity. He has been standing there, unable to get any more further than about 6 feet from that bag.
First pitch misses.
Cam Warner in now, 1 for 3. He was the leadoff man in the first, scored a run, and it's been zeros ever since for the Cavs.
Warner as well. Warner's batting well north of 300. That's why he's been promoted. As he swings through and misses that one to even the count at a ball and a strike. Some silly person may have said before his first at bat in the season that he was going to break out, and so far he's doing it. Just as you said, Chris, they need to work harder to get hits in clusters. It just seems to be one or two blokes. And here's the pitch from Wilkins, and Warner just behind that one. I'll tell you what, I'm loving watching Warner bat this season.
Really seems to be just...
It's confidence.
Yeah.
Even when he's missing, you can just see, whereas in past seasons it's been hesitant, it's been half swings, he's going for it. 1 and 2. Suter at first, 2 out. And Wilkins gets out of the jam, strikes out Warner as he strikes out the side after giving up the leadoff hit to Suter. It is 2-1 Sydney after 7 here at MIT Ballpark.
You're about to make university decisions. Make sure you stand up from the crowd. UC is ACT's #1 uni for graduate employment and starting salaries. UC has work placements in every degree. UC is designed specifically for Canberra and the region. Run your own race at the University of Canberra. Apply now, get UC qualified, and run circles around the rest.
Back here at MIT Ballpark for the top of the 8th inning. Sydney lead this game 2-1. This is interesting. I'm seeing Dormany for Sydney. He's got walking across the diamond and he's heading to the sheds. Whether it's just to start the recovery process now or whether something's happened, we'll try and find out. If we can't let you know tonight, we'll let you know tomorrow.
You don't see that every day, do you?
No. He's heading straight over to the sheds.
It has cooled down a little bit here, so maybe it's a case of he's wanting to get into the sheds where it's a bit warmer. Let's get a rub down.
Yeah, but I've never seen mid-game, especially when it's a run. I've never seen this. Anyway, Sydney are back up here in the top of the 8th. It will be Jack Murphy, Michael Campbell, Max Brennan. As you can hear the familiar sounds of someone in the crowd yelling at Jack Murphy. Don't know if he's the man I want to yell at. I had the pleasure of you introduced me to Jack last year, correct? And he's just such a polite and humble guy and very giving with his time. I think he was in between catching a double header and he still had 15 minutes to talk to us. As he steps in to face Mulry. Top of the 8th, here we go. Called strike one from umpire Riley Barrington. 0-1 the count. Mulry gets his sign. Low and outside. Great pickup on the backhand there for Jackie Robinson. It is 1-1. First hitter of the 8th inning. Two and one is the count on Murphy. Mulry, here he comes again. Slap down the line. Warner picks it up on the backhand side, fires to first and gets the out.
Jack Murphy will feel absolutely robbed there.
And this is what Canberra needs. If they're not getting hits, you've got to make plays. And third base has been a bit of an issue. It's been a bit of a merry-go-round for Canberra so far this season. But Cam Warner tonight, he's been brilliant. One out as Michael Campbell steps in. Called strike one. Campbell, he is 1 for 2 and has a walk. Here's the 0-1. He checks that. They point up to third base umpire Jordan Taylor, who says no, he did not go around. Evens the count at 1-1. No one on. One out for Sydney here in the top of the 8th. They lead this game 2-1. The Cavalry trying to get it going. He banks that foul. And that just dropped and hit the barricading right at the front of Sarge's Saloon. Someone may have gotten a quite a quick foul ball. Got out of the way of that one, though, as the count is 1-2. Mulry set. Here's the pitch. And that's missed. The count is 2 balls and 2 strikes. Once again, if you're just joining us, we apologise that we only have one camera tonight and all our new bells and whistles aren't attached. It has been a logical nightmare the last 2 nights, and we're just glad that we've been able to get this up for you. Here's the 2-2. As he hits it, Mulry tries to backhand it. Barley at full stretch manages to stop it, but not before Campbell safely reaches base. And Sydney have another base runner. Max Brennan. He steps in. He is 0 for 3. He has a ground out, a fly out, and a strikeout. So Michael Campbell is the runner at first for Sydney. And he is fast. Leads away. And that is in there for strike one on Max Brennan. Here comes the signal from Brian Murphy, the third base coach for Sydney. Oh, 1 is the count on Brennan. Mulroney fires over to Wilson at first. I think probably to keep Campbell honest, let him know, I know you're there, mate. You've probably just gotten the signal to have a look. Find your pitch in this at bat. 0-1. Mulroney delivers. Brennan tries to bunt. Robinson fires, and they get Campbell. I have no idea what just happened there. I think he was supposed to drop the squeeze bunt there. I think he was supposed to drop the bunt down and he missed it. Campbell was halfway up between first and second. He was in no man's land, and Robinson just fired a strike as it's 0-2. And all of a sudden, Sydney were threatening with a runner on and 1 out. It's now 1-2 the count on Brennan, and there are 2 out. And this is what Canberra need. Good plays in the field, hopefully. Get off quickly. 1-2 on Brennan. And no. Asked if he went around. Josh Matavesi, I must say. I think this umpiring crew is having a great game tonight. 2-2 is the count. Sydney leading this game 2 runs to 1 after Bosma as Brennan strikes out, and that is the end of Sydney here in the top half of the 8th. As I said, Mara with the RBI single in the 7th. That's the difference here at the moment, as it is now 2 runs to 1 here at MIT Ballpark.
Have you tried the grey cake?
I've tried it all. Okay.
So who are you backing in this game?
With their three-point shooting.
Guys, relax. I got this.
Don't want to miss a second of the action this season? With Tabs Basketball Live Vision, you can stream games and access exclusive previews for free, anytime, anywhere.
Whoa! Don't splash the box.
Yeah, don't splash the box.
Who are you backing this NBA season? Tab. Download the app today.
Bottom of the 8th here at MIT Ballpark. Sydney leading 2 runs to 1. Time running out for the Cavalry, as they are potentially staring down the start of their season 4-10. As Chris Coleman said, there is not many times in the seasons that he's been calling, especially the last 2 and a bit that I've been around, that you've seen Canberra lose 10 out of 12. They need a rally now, and the man that could start it is the DH, David Candless.
Well, it's almost baseball quicksand, was. You just try something and you get a bit deeper in, and you try something else and you get a bit deeper in, and you try something else and you get a bit deeper in, and sometimes it seems like there's no way out. But you've got to get back to the fundamentals.
Candless takes strike 1. And you got the heart of the Canberra order. Candless, Nathans, Wilson. As here comes the pitch from Wilkins. Candless, he liked that one, but unfortunately didn't get around on it quick enough. Fouls it off, as that has collected a car. I hope they've got good insurance. Candless is down 0-2. Sydney lead 2-1. Here's the pitch from Wilkins, and that's high. Tried to climb the ladder. Count is 1-2 on David Candless. He is the lead-off hitter here in the bottom of the 8th inning for Canberra. Here's the pitch from Luke Wilkins. Canless fouls that one off. Sydney leading 2-1. Canberra had a run in the bottom of the first, but Sydney quickly cancelled that out in the top of the second. And it was scoreless for a long time until Sydney got the go-ahead run in the top of the seventh due to an RBI single from Boss Moanarawa. So many times the hero here. As Wilkins comes. Canless hits that, takes a weird hop to Eunice, who still manages to get it, and he gets it across the diamond for the 5-3. I'll tell you what, Eunice at third tonight, he's had one where he's had to charge and barehand it because it took a skid and it took a turn and went the other way away from him and still managed to get it done. That one was an absolute laser from David Canless. At about 4 feet short of Eunice, has jumped up to his head like a bouncer on that abandoned Sheffield Shield pitch at the MCG last week. There is one out. Tucker Nathans, he steps in. Nathans is 0 for 2, but has a walk. Here's the pitch from Wilkins. And that is high, ball one. Well, I don't know. And that's high and outside for ball 2. Nathan's only, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, he only joined this Cavalry lineup last weekend in New Zealand.
Mm-hmm. Home run on his first game.
As he literally tried to launch that somewhere near Canberra Airport. Two and one is the count on Nathans. One out here in the bottom of the 8th. He fouls that back to level the count at 2 and 2. There's another souvenir for somebody, as I see about 15 kids chasing it. Still a good-sized crowd here at MIT Ballpark. No one's going anywhere. 1-run game. 2 and 2 the count on Tucker Nathans. There is one out. Nobody on for the Cavalry. Wilkins, here he comes. Along the ground of the third baseman, Eunice. He has slid backhand and got that. Flies over to first to Boss Moanarawa, who has the backhand of his own. That is an impressive play on all sides from the Blue Sox. And now Canberra have 4 outs left.
What's he done tonight?
Who's that?
Just looking at Eunice tonight. 1, 2, 3, 4, plus the start of a double play.
And all 3 of them have had something different about it. The first one, as I said, he had to charge and the ball spun away from his glove, had to barehand it in stride and make the throw. The second one, well, then had the double play, which was an inning-ending killer for the Cavalry. Then had that first play of this inning that literally 5 feet from him jumped at the from on the grass up to head height, and he did a great job to get a glove up, then make the throw, and then that one full stretch dive to the glove to the backhand side in the dirt, and still throws over. Moanarawa at full stretch on his backhand side. Fantastic defense from the Blue Sox. They lead 2-1, and as you can tell, if you can't by the Wilson is in. He fouls the first one back, and I'm fairly certain that one probably would have cleared Snake Gully. What's on the other side of Snake Gully, Chris?
Golf driving range.
No, I'm fairly certain someone's getting a souvenir when they take the card out to get the balls in the morning. On 1 the count. 2 out here. Bottom of the 8th. Wilkins, that's high. 1 and 1. Zach Wilson. His first home run of the season last weekend. Here's the 1-1. It's come off the end of the bat. Krause is coming in hard from right field, and he'll take it quite comfortably in the end to retire the side. We are through 8 innings here at MIT Ballpark, where it is currently Sydney Blue Sox 2, Canberra Cavalry 1 on Cavalry Live. Welcome back here to the top of the ninth here on Cavalry Live. Pitching change for the Cavalry. You can't mistake the 2-3 here in Canberra. That is Steve Kent. He comes in with a run-1 game. Let's try that again. He comes in with a one-run game. Try saying that 10 times real fast. Kent transitioning to the bullpen this year has been absolutely outstanding for the Cavalry. Has an ERA of, I think, just over 2. Just not seeing any other changes either. It's Nathan's, Suda. Now the 8 plays for Canberra, all as listed per program at the start of the evening. Steve Kent warms up. Yes, Chris?
Just having a look down at the Sydney bullpen. It is busier than Pitt Street down there. There's 1, 2, 3. At least 3 guys up stretching and another couple of guys up moving around. It is horrendously busy down there.
Oh, no, he must be fine. Because one of those blokes who's doing all the stretching with his back to us is Thomas Dormany. So he must have just had to go and maybe change the shoes, get the cleats off. And now he's just doing the post-start recovery.
Maybe he didn't like the locker he was assigned and he snuck into the locker room to go and move someone else's gear out of the locker, move his one into a better location in the locker room while everyone else is busy.
Anyway, top of the ninth. Canberra 2 runs on 8 hits. Canberra 1 run on 7 hits. And Chris Coleman, no errors from either side.
Oh, now you've done
it. Jalen Ray, he will step in and lead off. 1 for 3. He had a double back in to lead off the 7th, and he scored on the RBI single from Moanaroa. He steps in to face Kent. Kent, the big lefty. What's his first pitch going to be? It's going to be a called strike. He's not wasted motion, Steve Kent. He doesn't pitch around you. He comes straight at you. 0-1. Here's the pitch from Kent. High and let's just say high. 1-1. So the first 3 for Sydney. Ray, he's the one in the box. He's 1-1. Jacob Eunice, Gifton Gope. That's the task for Kent. As Ray swings through, not even close. 1-2. Kent. He's ready to go again. Here's the pitch. And he gets Jalen Ray swinging for the strikeout for the first out here in the top of the ninth. Eunice. Very rare for you. He's had a great night with the glove, but he is 0 for 4 with the bat. 2 ground outs, a strikeout, and a fly out.
Funny old game.
But he's been instrumental in help Sydney some great plays with his 2-1 lead. Here comes the first pitch from Kent. There's Robinson. That one dropped on him. And got away. Ball 1. Here's the pitch from Kent. Eunice swings through and misses for strike 1. Top of the ninth inning here on Cavalry Live. Warwick Pethiebridge, Chris Coleman in the box. It is Jacob Eunice for Sydney with 1 out in the top of the ninth. They lead 2-1. Here's the 1-1 from Kent. And that is just outside for ball 2. So Eunice and Gope on deck. I'm looking over at the hole, but I'm not seeing anyone yet. Should be Boss Mile in a row. Here's the 2-1. And that is missed as well from Kent. And I don't think he liked that one from umpire Riley Barrington. Took a second. 3-1 is the count on Eunice. Here comes Kent. Up the middle. That's off the end of the bat. Cicchini at full stretch. He's not going to get it either. That is a base hit into centre field. And all of a sudden, Sydney once again have a runner.
Well, it would have been a rare night for Jacob Eunice to go 0 for 5 after a strikeout, a couple of infield outs. Gets himself up there to first, and Sydney, they'll be looking to add the insurance here. A few better men in these circumstances than Gift and Gopa to come up and have a go. He's had a couple of walks tonight, so he's 1 for 2 plus 2 walks. His on-base percentage up 750 for the night.
Here's the pitch to Gift. And that is in there for a called strike 1. So now, Chantel, as Ngope is batting. Manaroa is on deck. 0-1 the count on Gift. 1 out here. Infield a double play depth. Eunice the man at first. And Ngope, he chases the high one. Fouls it off. He is down 0-2. Sydney leading this game 2-1. Here in the top of the 9th. The count is 0-2 on Gift and Ngope. Ngope, he's 1 for 2 and has 2 walks. Jacob Eunice is the runner at first for Sydney. Here's the pitch. Foul. Count stays 0-2. Sydney leading this game 2-1. They have 9 hits to Canberra 7. No fielding errors for either side. I'll tell you what, there's been some spectacular plays, especially from the Sydney defence. And especially from Jacob Eunice. 0-2 is the count on Ngope. Kent comes set. Checks Eunice at first. Here's the pitch. Ngope fouls it off. Funny if there's organ music when we don't have an organ.
It's amazing what modern technology can achieve.
I know. Oh. 0-2. Still on Ngope. 1 out for the Blue Sox. Here in the top of the 9th. Jacob Eunice at first. He leads away. Here's the pitch. Blocked by Robinson. Eunice goes. Safe. Pitch was curveball. A low curveball. And Ngope didn't chase. Robinson did well to block and keep it in front of him, but it got away a couple of feet, and that was all Eunice needed. He was going. Robinson got up and made an excellent throw to second. But Eunice beat it by probably the length of his palm. 1-2, the count on Ngope. Kent set. Here comes the pitch. And that is low and evens the count at 2-2. Still hearing the hissing. I see a young man still playing with his balloon from earlier. There it is, Japan night here at MIT Ballpark. Celebrating our friendship with the Yokohama DNA Bay Stars. Here's the 2-2. And Ngope spins all the way around and strikes out. And there are 2 out here. What was the name of that band that sung that song? You swing me.
Dead or alive. You spin me right round.
Yeah, there we go, because that was it. And Ngope was fooled all ends up on that curveball from Kent. And there are 2 out. But I tell you what, Chris, 2 out, top of the 9th in this last inning in this ballpark, and all of a sudden the sounds of on Bossy. He sent one into the night before. He faces his good mate. And how would this be? Mate against mate.
Oh, Kent will know exactly what Boss doesn't want. Will he give it to him?
He chops the first pitch. Kent is charging down. And that rolls foul.
In some ways, I think Steve Kent probably would have enjoyed that a little bit more than chasing in, picking it up and getting Boss out at first, because making Boss spend just that little bit of extra energy late in the game of a night to make him sprint and hustle all the way up in the hope that he was going to get up there to first base. There would have been a word or two, I reckon, between the two of them as their paths crossed out there as well.
As you said, Monaroa back on this Blue Sox team. Spent the first 4 years of his ABL career in Sydney, then spent the last 4 here in Canberra, where he was very much a loved fan favourite, and you can still see it in this crowd tonight. 0-1 the count on Boss. 2 out. Eunice is the runner at second for Sydney. They lead 2-1 here in the top of the 9th. Here's the pitch from Kent. Monaroa. Maybe he was expecting something different. Kent's like, no, I'm just going to get you.
I think that's the Steve Kent philosophy.
Well, I mean, I think after being teammates for a few years, this K might be a little bit sweeter than most for Steve Kent if he can get it. 0-2 on Boss. Here's the pitch. Monaroa swings through and strikes out. Kent gets his man. And Sydney are retired in the 9th without adding a run. But they lead 2-1 here at MIT Ballpark.
Yeah, Yellow. Oh, this is how we gonna do it.
Oh, well, it is time where the famous rubber meets the famous road, Chris Coleman. Canberra down to the last 3 outs. They trail in this game 2-1. Wilkins is still on the mound for Sydney. He, after giving up a first pitch hit in the 7th, has been nothing short of outstanding out of this Sydney bullpen.
2 struck out looking, 1 struck out swinging. Couple of ground outs, 1 fly out in that order.
And he faces Robinson, Cicchini, Suter. They are the first 3 up for Canberra. And let's see. I can't see. You'll have to keep an eye on the Sydney pen. But
there's nobody throwing.
Well,
I did say it was ridiculously busy up there before.
Well, there is no left. Well, no, Nathans is the only left-hander in this lineup. And he doesn't bat until 8. If we get that far, which we wouldn't anyway, because it's only 2-1, 1 to tie, 2 to walk off. Wilkins, though, has been outstanding for Sydney, and he steps up again as he faces Chucky Robinson. Here's the first pitch from Wilkins. High for ball 1. I was going to say to you that I thought the temperature had just dropped off, but I think the air conditioning just kicked into gear here in our commentary box. 1-0 the count on Chucky. 2-0 the count on Chucky. Robinson, part of the Houston Astros organization, as here's the pitch from Wilkins. And that's in there for a called strike 1. Count is 2 balls and 1 strike. Bottom of the 9th here at MIT Ballpark. Sydney leading Canberra by 2 runs to 1. Here's the pitch from Wilkins as Robinson fouls it back and evens the count at 2-2. Warwick Pethybridge and Chris Coleman with you here at Cavalry Live. Thank you for your support tonight with our limited broadcast. It's been a Murphy's Law broadcast today. Not Jack Murphy, the other Murphy, the one that says what can go wrong will go wrong. And here's the pitch. Robinson hits it along the ground to Ngope, who picks it up and fires to Monaroa for the first out. Just like that. The sun or the floodlights, or whatever you want to say, is slowly setting on the cavalry. But I tell you what, if there was any man in this lineup that I've seen so far in 4 and a bit games this year, then I think, you came to me, Chris, and said, you need a base runner for your life. Who's it going to be on this cavalry side? I think this is the man I'd pick, Gavin Cicchini. He is 1 for 3. Oh, and he's just lined it. I've just cursed him. He's lined it straight back to Wilkins. I'm going to stop talking.
Okay.
Oh, I tell you what, Wilkins has been, so far, he gave up the lead-off single to Suter in the 7th. He's the man that steps up now. But other than that, he has recorded 8 straight outs against this cavalry lineup.
Coming into the game is number 29, Taylor Colway.
So Colway has come in. He has been pinch hit for Suter.
Interesting call.
Well, yeah.
Suter's had 2 singles earlier tonight.
And he's the only one of this cavalry lineup that so far in the first trip through had a hit against Wilkins. But here's the first pitch to Colway. And that is called strike 1. Colway, named last week by MILB as one of the All-Stars of the Padres minor league organization. And that's high and outside. Gabriel Arias was also named in that article. Had a great year in AA for the Fort Wayne Tin Caps. Great to see our alumni doing well abroad. Here's the 1-1. Colway has hit that a mile up. The left fielder, Ray, he takes the catch comfortably, and that will end the ball game as the final score will be Sydney 2, Canberra 1. And on a night where there's a lot of good defense, unfortunately, the problem seems to have been all year, Chris, just couldn't string the hits together. Did it in the first inning, just couldn't do it after.
Haven't been able to string hits together, haven't been able to string runs in multiple innings. It's very hard to win baseball games when you don't score many runs. I know that's probably about the most obvious statement that you can put out there, but that really is the story of the Cavalry season so far, and they dropped to, 4-10?
4-10.
It's a long road home from here with 26 games remaining. They're going to need to win, geez, you'd imagine, at the very least,
one more than Auckland.
Well,
but then as well, then you're.
No,
you've got but if you finish third, and how competitive the Southwest Division is, once again you'd be looking at being a third place team travelling to a wildcard game.
You don't guarantee the wildcard game is a third place game either. If the third place team on the other side has a better record than you, then your season finishes after game 40. Anyway, plenty of time for us to contemplate that over the next 22 hours or so before we get back into action on Saturday night here at MIT Ballpark. We thank you again for your patience and for your support. You'll be back on tomorrow night. I'll think about whether I'm going to be back on tomorrow night. We'll make that decision sometime tomorrow.
And if not, it'll be Was Solo.
We'll work all that out later. But tonight on a difficult Friday night for many, many people, the Sydney Blue Sox take home the chocolates tonight. They've defeated the Canberra Cavalry 2-1 here at MIT Ballpark. This is Chris Coleman signing off. Thank you very much.